and brought to you in part today by Yeti. And this is provided by one of our fine sponsors, who will remain anonymous for the time being. Our sponsors on this program, helping us to bring you this news and information segment. And so I have here this book. It's called, the title of this book is The Unauthorized Version, Truth and Fiction in the Bible, Robin Lane Fox, published by Knope, Knope. And this book, it prays for Robin Lane Fox's Pagans and Christians. This is another book, possibly. And then here is the inside jacket here tells this part of it. The Bible tells a long story from the creation to the rise of Christianity. Some regard it as, quote, the Word of God, end quote. It is admired as literature and as chronicle. It stands foursquare at the center of several of the world's great religions. But is it true? In this book, the distinguished scholar Robin Lane Fox, author of the widely acclaimed Pagans and Christians and Alexander the Great, approaches the Bible in a fresh and controversial way, in search of answers to a variety of absolutely key questions. Can we know when and how the books that make up the Bible were written? To what extent do we have the text that the authors originally wrote? Is it internally consistent? Does the biblical version of events conflict with historical information from other sources? Babylonian and Egyptian archaeology, Greek and Roman historians, and much else. What, in short, are we to make of this extraordinary document in a factual, objective sense? And reading from, of course, on the inside here, the jacket of The Unauthorized Version, Truth and Fiction in the Bible, by Robin Lane Fox. And I'm going to be reading this and talking about it as part of the conversation that we're having on the Bible and the spiritual truths that we see in the Star Wars mythology, the Star Wars story, if you will, written and directed by George Lucas, particularly in the prequels, as this expands the universe and gives us a greater view of what is the Force and more possibilities when thinking about the higher philosophical and religious ideas and possibly ideals that George Lucas is presenting in Star Wars, and made even deeper in the prequels, especially through the character of Jar Jar, as we'll see, because Jar Jar truly is the key here. And again, we're going to finish reading this now. We're talking today about the Unauthorized Version, Truth and Fiction in the Bible, or yes, by Robin Lane Fox. And continuing along here, writing as a historian and an atheist, someone who, as he puts it, believes in the Bible but not in God, end quote. Lane Fox explores these questions with dazzling scholarship and critical vitality. He ranges across a host of disciplines and epochs, languages and religions, exploring and assessing the validity of the Bible as a source of literal truth. In Genesis, for example, he finds two totally incompatible versions of the creation. He shows how the story of Joshua's conquests fall apart in the face of archaeological and other evidence, and how Matthew's and Luke's accounts of the Nativity clash with the evidence of outside historical sources. And continuing along here, yet at the same time, dealing as he does with the entire Bible, Lane Fox writes brilliantly and excitingly of the transcendental truths, human and literary, that it encompasses. The unauthorized version is a tour de force in a vast landscape, provocative and deeply original. It will fascinate anyone who has ever read the Bible, whether as literature, as a repository of culture, or as a source of religious inspiration. And I've been now reading from the inside leaf of the jacket cover of the hardcover of the unauthorized version, Truth and Fiction in the Bible, Robin Lane Fox, published by Knope, Knope. And Robin Lane Fox, according to the inside jacket on the hardcover edition, and this edition here is, well, let's read it. Robin Lane Fox is a fellow of New College, Oxford, and a university reader in ancient history. He is the author of a number of widely praised books. And then, of course, there's a painting here on the cover, jacket painting, Christ Before the High Priest, by Gerrit van Honthorst, courtesy of the National Gallery, London. Jacket design by Julie Duquet, and the spelling on that is Duquet. Alfred A. Knopf, publisher, New York. Printed in the USA. Copyright 1992, Alfred A. Knopf, Inc. And this is the unauthorized version, Truth and Fiction in the Bible, by Robin Lane Fox. And this is also the same author that has written these published works. Alexander the Great, Variations on a Garden, Search for Alexander, Better Gardening, Pagans and Christians. And this is, of course, published 1992. And this is, again, as we said already, but I'm going to repeat this before I really start getting into it. Alfred A. Knopf, New York, 1992. The unauthorized version, Truth and Fiction in the Bible, Robin Lane Fox. And we're using this book as part of the array of books, the set that we're using, to have this discussion on the Star Wars mythos, the mythology, the story, if you will. And as part of this conversation, we're including the Bible. We're basing much of the language that I'm using on the Bible, because I am familiar with the Bible, particularly the King James Bible. Being a Christian myself and reading Star Wars as a Christian and as a member of this world, as a citizen of a certain zip code and country and lines and borders, I read Star Wars now differently than I did from the time I was a kid, than I did when I was a kid. And so we're reading, as part of our including voice here, the unauthorized version, Truth and Fiction in the Bible, Robin Lane Fox. And friends, that's all the time we have for today. Remember, your focus determines your reality. And may the Force be with us. Yeah. Great.